So the culmination of this video is going to be me talking about this amazing sketching bag that I use, which is well over 80 years old, and I'm going to talk a little bit about why I like to use it, but also generally what to look for in a sketching bag, sort of materials and sizes and stuff like that, and hopefully I'll slow down so you can understand me. So let's get cracking. So when I go sketching and I go off into the wild, sometimes if I'm going for a walk with a dog on a big adventure, I'll often take a rucksack with me, and that's because I want to carry the sort of sketching essentials. So, I need to carry a few pies, a flask of gravy, often I'd like a foot spa, and then I obviously need a selection of hats, various outfit changes, a drone. Anyway, as you can imagine, it's quite complicated when I go out for a sketch, particularly if I'm not with the film crew. If I'm basically going into town, or I'm going to a festival or an event or something, and I want to just do some sketching on my own and sneak off and do some quiet little urban sketching, or sketching some figures or something like that, I'll often have a much more discreet sort of setup, something quite small and compact that just carries the minimum of equipment, because I don't want to be wayladen with all my outfits and hats. I'd like something vaguely biodegradable, because I am, and that's why I'm often attracted to more natural fabrics like canvas or leather or things like that. Now, you will say, and I can hear you saying it, what about waterproofness? And yes, those kind of materials like leather and canvas are never going to be as waterproof as vinyl or rubber. To be honest with you, I'm not really bothered about that, because normally I'm wearing a long coat and I can put a bag under a coat, or, I'm British, I've got an umbrella, I am not an animal. I could put a waterproof over it, or just go for coffee. If it's absolutely peeing it down, I could go to the pub. The most important thing is, what can you carry? Ideally, it wants to be big enough for a sketch pad book, paints, a little bit of water, all your ancillary bits, goings, and then maybe a flask, maybe a sandwich or something like that. But in fairness, if I'm going into the city, you're going somewhere nice to do some sketching, or I'm at a festival, I don't necessarily need to carry a lot of fluids and snacks. I'm going to show you 2 examples of sketching bags that really work for me, and talk a little bit about why I love them. So the first bag I'm going to show you today is made by 2 ladies in Wales, I believe. The company is owned by 2 women, and the company is called Gunslip, Quality Gun Slips. Now, I think gun slip is a term for a bag that you put a gun in, but they don't just do those sort of hunting and fishing bags, which is obviously still a reasonable size market in the UK, but they also do shoulder bags and laptop bags, and just some really cool, simple, handmade canvas bags with sort of leather bits on. And there goes my microphone. So I'm up and running again. This is one of their small shoulder bags. It's got nice leather bits, but it's really simple. It's just a really simple canvas bag. If you look inside, it's not lined, but it's got 1 big pocket and 2 small pockets in the front. So this is a close-up of how I pack the Quality Gun Slips bag. Now this one, as I didn't say previously, is available in lots of different colours, and a lot of their bags you can choose different coloured linings and things like that, but this is the very sort of bog basic, smallest shoulder bag that they do. So there's some adjustable straps on the front here, and then you can just undo that. And now how it breaks down inside is there's 2 smaller pockets on the front, and within that there is like a pen pocket, which is quite useful if you just want to take a couple of fountain pens. This one is a plain pocket, and this one is a plain pocket. So what would I normally carry? Well, that loadout would be for a sort of serious sketching trip, where I would maybe carry an A4 sketchbook. Now this is, generally something I would carry if I was going away for a sketching weekend or something, but A4 is a bit of a luxurious size, because I don't always work in that size. Quite often I'd be happy with an A5 size, and this is more sort of representative of that. Trying to find an equivalent fun sketch to show you, to leave it open at. Oh, there you go. Now, what else would I have in here? Well, obviously, I'd have, this represents a sandwich. I've snuck in an apple. Now I've taken this with me because I'm going to pretend to eat it because I know I have to be healthy, but it'll probably come home and I'll give it to the kids because I'm a bad man. Now this is a representative of a flask stroke can of beer or just some form of liquid. But what I'll often do is I'll take a flask of coffee and then a small jam jar of water, just in case I can't find any water. Now, usually, what I would use for my water is I've got this collapsible cup here. And again, this is something I bought off Amazon for a few quid. But, you know, it's got quite a big capacity. Or you can fold it down and it's very stable, and you don't have to use a lot of water, because actually you'd be surprised when you're doing watercolour how little water you actually need. Obviously I need some glasses because I'm old. Tissue, because it's useful when you're doing watercolour. What else do we have here? So yeah, my watercolour set. And then I normally carry a set of brushes. These look like personal massages, if you know what I mean. But they're not. They're actually a series of Skoda travel brushes. A lot of people swear by them. I have sworn at them for various reasons. So yeah, some travel brushes. I might just take a few loose brushes and wang them in the bottom. I've got another couple of travel sets, so I might take something different with me. Not always the same one by any means. And then because I've got my big bag, that enables me to take a smaller bag. And this is very much probably my favourite bag because it has pens in. So fine liners, fountain pens, pencils, food pens, highlighters, low lighters, side lighters. This is for doing nail varnish. So there you go. So there's quite a lot in there. I don't know whether you can see that all in one frame, but that's pretty much all you'll ever need when you go out sketching for the day. Now if you want to take a coat or something, you can just fold it over the top of the bag and carry it like that, or improvise. So there you go. So that's everything that goes in the Gunslip bag. Yeah, so this is, I've had this for about 4 or 5 years, and it's proven to be a really, you know, solid bag. There's no leather on the bottom, so if you put it down somewhere wet, it can get a little bit of water in there. But the great thing about sort of canvas and materials like that is, yes, if they do get wet, you know, they are absorbent slightly, but they'll dry really quick. So that's the Gunslip bag, and they're available in the UK for about £65, which I know is a lot of money, because you can go to Temu or one of these Chinese, website, eBay type things, AliExpress, and don't get me wrong, there's some great products on there, but you can buy a canvas bag for maybe $12 or something like that, but it's probably going to fall apart, whereas these two ladies in Wales are banging out some proper gear. So yeah, my favourite sketching bag. Now, you maybe don't know this about me, but I'm a little bit of a history nerd, and I particularly love is a very unusual word when it comes to a huge amount of genocide and warfare, but I'm fascinated by the history of the Second World War. Now, a conflict that, you know, ultimately and tragically killed 70 million people is not going to leave, this has gone dark. But from a historical point of view, you know, it was such a big schism globally, and it changed everyone's lives, and it's full of tales. Second World War history is full of tales of very ordinary people doing very extraordinary things. And yeah, historically it's a little bit like the onion that you just keep peeling. You learn about one element and something else will come up and something else will come up. But because I've got this interest in that period of history, I do tend to gravitate towards like weird stuff. Like I wanted to buy a pair of boots, and I ended up with a pair of Second World War boots, and I've got a couple of Second World War coats, as well as several hundred books all about that subject. So since it's been going for the last sort of 4 or 5 years, I've been going to a history festival in the UK called WWII Fest, and it's a Second World War history festival with lectures and vehicle demonstrations and entertainment and all sorts of stuff. It's really cool, but it's quite small, and One of the historians there, a chap called James Holland, had a bag, which was this little gas mask bag. And I was speaking to him about how cool this bag was and what a perfect little sketching bag it would be. And then so I ended up doing a bit of Googling, and I went on eBay and I found the bag. Now, this is the very bag. So this is what they call a Mark VII. I'll be honest, I have two. I liked it so much, I bought it twice. So this is a Mark VII gas mask bag from 1942. So that makes it 82 years old. Now, a lot of these must have been sort of put away in warehouses post-war and then auctioned off at some point, because there's quite a few of these floating around. You can pick one up for sort of £40 here in the UK. Some of them are cheaper, but there's often, what you'll often find is ones where the sort of straps have rotted away, because the original strap, it was meant to be worn often around the neck like that, so the strap is quite short. Now you can either change that strap yourself, it's just a simple webbing strap, which you could buy for like $2, or you could get one of the later ones that has a longer strap, which, I mean, I've got two versions here. So let's talk about what makes this so cool as a sketching bag. So when I first received this through the post, obviously it has the year marked on it, and it's packed flat, and you think it doesn't really look much. But one of the things you realise pretty much straight away is it's actually quite deep. And not only is it quite deep, it has some very, very useful pockets. So one of the pockets at the front is a straight pocket all the way across. And that is more than big enough for an A5 sketchbook. So there's various features on this bag, like on this side there's a lot of string, and on this side there's a button. Now that's so you can put the string around your body and tie it there so that it doesn't bounce around when it's tied to a soldier. Random things like that, and there's loads of pockets in the back here, which they're for various parts of the gas mask, but that's probably irrelevant for you if you're sketching. But what is relevant is it's got a couple of water drains in the bottom, which means that it's probably not perfect to put in a puddle, and it will soak up water, but if water does get inside, it will drain. But really, this, as I said before, this is not an all-weather bag, this is a summer sketching pad, really. Sketching bag. So let's just go through what you can fit in this one. So the front pocket at this section is more than big enough for even a couple of sketchbooks. It's roughly about A5 in width, as you can see. So that works really well. So let's just leave a sketchbook in there for now. And then in the back pockets here, that's split up into, there's one at the back. I know it's not great camera work, this. There's another one at the back there, and then in here we have, that's again broken up to two. So what I would normally do here is put my pen bag in that side, and then I would just put all my other bits and bobs, really, in there. And it's a little bit taller than the other bag, so in some ways you can still put a lot of stuff in. And then what you still have at the back here is some very, very long pockets. Now these long pockets go all the way down at the back. So actually you could put brushes and pens and things in there, not take this big bag with you, and then you've got this whole area on one side for a nice bottle of gin or, you know, some Cuban cigars. And, you know, the charm of it really is its history. So don't forget my glasses. So I'm going to pop my glasses in there, and I'm going to pop my sandwiches in, and an apple. There we go, and that just fastens up. Big Prestons. There we go. It is taller than the other bag, but it's not quite as wide, but there's not a lot in it. There you go, that's them sort of side by side, if you know what I mean. So there you go. I mean, for me, art is often about emotion, and art is about something outside of sort of capitalism and very performance-orientated parameters. It's something that I feel is very much a sort of tactile thing in my life, if you know what I mean. And that's where this bag particularly, I think, really suits being carried as my art bag, because it's got so much history. It smells. It has, not bad. It's synonymous with, you know, a time of great change and emotion and tragedy almost. And it's just a very romantic thing. And I know that, I guess, gives it some cultural capital in the sense of I am just as much a cliche as somebody who's wearing Nike or whatever. I'm just another middle-aged bloke that's interested in the Second World War. But I just think it's very, very cool. And for £30 or 40 quid, you can get yourself a little bit of history that's been there for all that time. I think also it's a bit of a minor point, but I grew up at a time when, you know, history perhaps wasn't the coolest of things to be interested in as a kid. You know, Star Wars and computer games were just the thing, and really did get my attention as a kid was the Indiana Jones series of films. And it's weird how, like, a lot of them are sort of set in the Second World War. So you have this really weird sort of Venn diagram of history and that period and time. But anyway, this is maybe subliminal advertising, but Indiana Jones wears this bag. This is the bag he wears in some of the films. So when I put the bag on and I put my hat on, I can pretend. Maybe not carry the whip. It's just a bit weird. But there you go. So I hope all that makes sense. It's a little bit eccentric, but, you know, aren't we all in our own beautiful way? So as always, I want to thank you guys for viewing the video. Please do like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. It needs a boost. And yeah, if you want to see longer videos or more content, head over to my Patreon where you can subscribe for a few bucks a month. Check that out. Yeah, so thanks for stopping by. Let me know in the comments what sketching bag you use, whether you carry more gear than me or maybe less. So do you have a period of time that you're particularly interested in? And the question is, could you find a sketch bag from that period, maybe? Obviously, if it's the Stone Age, you're going to have to hunt your own bison down for that one. But yeah, it's all very interesting, that sort of crossover between our interests and how they sort of merge together often. And if you have any ideas for any other videos featuring Second World War artifacts, do let me know, because then I can buy them with a legitimate excuse and not a sense of guilt. Oh God, more stuff in the house. Right, we'll see you later, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.